Guys, nobody saw this coming. What we're about to talk about with Trump literally offering to buy out every single federal worker's contract, all 2 million of them. Essentially, he's saying, look, we can fire everybody. In a sense, either you're going to get on this agenda or you're going to resign, and we'll give you an 8-month severance package, guys. This is Axios reporting Trump offering buyouts to all federal workers. Guys, nobody saw this level of change coming to the federal government. Not only is he offering this huge just wipeout of so many federal workers, because he said you're going to come back to the office and work, or you're going to resign, but we'll give you an 8-month severance package. 2 million federal workers have the option for that now. Remember, only 5 to 10% of all federal workers actually showed up to the office. So now Trump is saying we're gonna get you to the office, we're gonna get you to work, but guess what? If you don't want to, you can hit the door and leave. He's saying that this will save the taxpayers about $100 billion, guys. This is insane. Breaking news, Trump offering this to every single federal worker in the government. On top of that, Trump just signed an executive order. Listen to this, guys. Trump just signed an executive order that is related to holding former government officials accountable for unlawful disclosures of sensitive information and actions. He is coming for them, guys. He's coming for them. He's going to hold everybody accountable. On top of that, guys, wonderful news. The DOGE Department of Government Efficiency, is averaging saving the American taxpayers $1 billion per day. They have stopped wasteful spending. For example, guys, you're not even going to believe this. Trump stopped today a shipment of $50 million to Gaza for male contraceptives. Yes, for some reason, taxpayers like you and me have to make sure that we send $50 million to pay for male contraceptives so men in Gaza are protected from having more babies. Wasteful government spending, that was stopped today by the Trump administration, and it is music to my ears, because the next thing that Trump said today is that he is vowing to eliminate the federal income tax on Americans in his presidential term, guys. Holy moly, so much breaking news today, guys. I just can't imagine, what else is going to come. This is insane, guys. I just want to say thank you to everybody that is watching. We got so much breaking news for you today. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so I can take care of you with the breaking news. And if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help the channel out so much in growing the channel, guys. I want to say thank you to all of our members in the channel. We've already grown already. Somebody joined the True Life News family. Sharon Peterson, welcome to the family. And Ruby Hoove, thank you for gifting one True Life News membership. Y'all are amazing. Thank you so much. Show them some love in the chat. And thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. We're so grateful for your support. Just like C24 McD, y'all show C24 some love in the chat. Guys, so much is happening. It's happening so quick. I'm showing you, this is breaking news. This has happened in the past hours. Trump is offering to buy out all federal workers' contracts. Things are happening, guys. Check this out, because I'm telling you, this is just the beginning.
Cutesy time is over. Borders shut down, and I'm going to tell you something. We've got an absolutely incredible 1-2 punch of personnel or policy on the border front that are going to change this country moving forward. You change our border and get us back to a public safety, secure border initiative moving forward, the entire country's going to change. Tom Homan and Steve Miller, you want to talk about an incredible 1-2 punch for this FAFO administration? Watch Steve Miller yesterday expose this Bush League media. They're already trying the narratives. Oh my gosh, some lady was crying because she wasn't allowed in the country illegally. So? Here's Steve Miller, and he exposes this reporter's tactic of framing the questions to elicit an emotional response. Folks in the chat, do we care about emotions? No. What do we care about? Fire it up. Who gets it first? What do we care about? I don't care about emotions at all. Who is it? Someone do it. Hell no. Hell no. What do we care about? Who's got it? Oh, man, you guys are quick. Oh, wait, I got one. Billy Beans, maybe a Moneyball thing going on there, says outcomes. You are correct. And what is the outcome we want? We do not want illegal aliens in the country because it's illegal. Here's Steve Miller exposing this hack. This is glorious to watch. This is how you handle left-wing lunatic reporters. Check this out.
There's a report from Chicago that there were ICE agents that were turned away from a Southside elementary school earlier today. Is targeting of schools, targeting of things like this, something that the administration is comfortable with and will continue with?
I think the framing of the question is wrong. If there's a law enforcement activity that's taking place in a school, then that would be for the protection and defense of the child. As you know, there's an epidemic of child trafficking and labor trafficking in this country. When federal law enforcement officers are turned away from a school, it is the act of turning them away that endangers the lives and safety of children. We've seen, as you know, 500,000 children trafficked over a 4-year period in the United States. This administration is going to investigate every instance of child trafficking, labor trafficking, sex trafficking, child smuggling, and all the attendant crimes involved in that. And our message to everyone in the country is to cooperate fully with immigration and customs enforcement so that we can end the scourge of child trafficking and child abuse that has been endemic these last 4 years.
I've got to give a shout out in the chat to Retro Whiskey, who has the line of the day so far in the chat, citing the new viral meme from yesterday from Vice President Vance, which is, I don't really care, Margaret. Don't really care. Eric Daughtry, breaking yesterday, U.S. health officials ordered by the Trump administration to stop working with the dreadful communist World Health Organization immediately. Remember the ones who tried to hide the COVID thing?
Yes.
How many times we got to... This guy's poor guy, man. Poor Rock. This red guy. And he's like, Dan, can I have a break? You can't. You cannot have a break on this show. I'm sorry. I'm tired of the... I'm not tired. You're not tired of the winning. I'm not tired of the winning. Here's another one. Epic Times. Trump signs executive orders restricting transgender troops, ending military DEI practices. Glorious. Whoa.
Let's go.
Karate Man's easier when your lungs aren't infected with the deadly postulatums that I have been from the deadly bioweapon sprayed on all of us at the inauguration. By the way, poor Justin came down with the inauguration. He wasn't even at the inauguration. Guy has some ridiculous X-Men-like Wolverine immune system. Justin says it's only his left nostril. I don't know how that is. They're all like, it goes all connected up there, but whatever. The winning continues. You want to be out of action for 12 months because you want to cut body parts of it? You do you. But you don't get to take up military time and services doing it because there's an opportunity cost there, and you're not lethal if you're in the recovery room. Okay? Thank you. Period. Have a nice day. The DEI stuff you heard about from Pete. Here's another just absolute gem. Fox News. Are we tired of the winning? The answer is hell to the... No, we're not tired of winning. We are not tired of the winning.
Let's go.
Not stopping. DOJ fires more than a dozen key officials on former special counsel, I'd say special tyrant, Jack Smith's team. That's glorious. You thought you had a job, you were going to sit there, weaponize the federal government, and get taxpayer dollars? Nah, don't think so, kids. Sorry. Matter of fact, the winning gets even better. I love this guy, by the way. I don't know if you know this guy, Ed Martin. He is the interim.
Hey guys, thank you so much for your support. We're 9 minutes in. We already have over 1,000 people watching. Y'all are so amazing. If you could hit the thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much. Thank you for your support.
The United States Attorney for Washington, D.C. What did he do? Imagine how much it pained the Washington Post to write this headline. He launches a probe of the January 6th prosecutions.
Let's go.
Talk about flipping the script. want to weaponize government? We'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess we will find out, as Michael said, how many stages of this FAFO agenda. Red Rocker, by the way, Donald Trump has side control right now for you Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys. If you see that, Michael, you know side control? He's that. Maybe I would do the knee on belly, but the knees don't bend. So, but he's definitely dominating in side control right now. He's doing the elbow shiver in the neck too, which is that really hurts. That's like considered cheap. Here's another one. Hat tip Maze Moore on this one. Great account to follow on X, MAZEMOORE. Fantastic follow. Got to give shout outs to people, folks. We're not the only ones out there. And a lot of people steal Maze Moore's content. It is not right. I see it on Twitter and X all the time. It's their account over there. Should cite it. But it's just interesting now, all of a sudden, that Ed Martin's going to be looking into the prosecutions and the weaponization of government during January 6th, how the Democrat story is now changing. And there is no better example of a fraud on weaponized government than Adam Schiff. Watch this about 30 seconds, and you'll see what I mean. Again, hat tip Maze Moore. Check this out.
On the day Donald Trump leaves office, the Justice Department may indict him.
Very strongly in favor of indicting the president when he is out of office.
I don't think the incoming president should be threatening his political opponents with jail time. That's not the kind of talk we should hear from a president in a democracy.
This is why...
Guys, do you hear this? They're flipping the script. People are going nuts right now, guys. The things are happening so fast. They don't know how to respond. Trump administration offers buyouts to federal employees. All federal employees, 2 million federal employees, get the option to leave. Go find another job, or you can stay here and work, but you have to be in favor of the MAGA movement. Guys, they're giving them 8 months severance and benefits if they take the leave, guys. No one saw this coming. Trump is moving so fast. He's literally knocking people out with his moves. On top of this, guys, Trump has vowed to eliminate the federal income tax. He's vowed it, guys. This is something that we are going to see. He said, you're going to see this in my term, guys. I am so excited for this. Nobody saw this coming, but it is going to boost the economy like nobody's business. Tammy Fields, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. And D. Adams says, Jesus, us is American solid rock. Let's go. And thank you so much, D. Artano Valentino, for the super chat. Y'all show them some love in the chat, everybody. The big thing is Trump is moving fast. Federal judges are trying to stop him. Just like he paused this morning, he paused all the temporary federal grants, loans freeze, does all that. Because last year in 2024, we spent over $3 trillion of taxpayers' money on federal loans and grants. And guess what? No accountability, no good paperwork. It wasn't managed properly. So Trump said, we got to stop it. We've already got Democratic federal judges fighting it. That's why what you're about to see next is so important, because Congress is stepping in. They want to make sure that we have the goods under the hood to fight all these Democratic federal judges, guys. Check this out.
What is it? In particularly what you've seen the last couple of days. You're one of the leading technology experts in the United States Senate. Where do you think we stand with all this, sir?
Well, I think that, first of all, it's great to be with you, Steve. Thanks for having me. I think what we're seeing is these tech companies continue to amass incredible power, and the DeepSeek breakthrough, if that's what we're calling it in China, just shows the incredible power that these corporations are going to have with the technologies that they control. And, I've seen what Reid Hoffman said about this is going to be great for everybody, and everybody's going to benefit from it. I'm not so sure about that. I know who's going to benefit from this latest breakthrough. That's the Chinese communists. I know who's going to benefit from all of our data being taken by these corporations. It's the corporate behemoths who can take all of our information without our permission, who can use it to train their models without any payment to us, without any protection for our rights. So, yeah, I'm concerned. I'm really concerned. I think the tech companies, bottom line, Steve, I think they're only getting more powerful. They're only getting bigger. And I think we've got to be really, really careful here.
As you say in the book, we've kind of made Obama administration stars as Faustian pack with Silicon Valley, which I think is an apartheid state, but they could get incredibly wealthy and have monopolistic power. The anti-trade, the Justice Department would never touch them, but they would have to leave us to be technologically dominant. Do you feel comfortable with that pact? As one side as that is, given what TikTok, the power of TikTok and social media, and let's assume for this discussion, DeepSeek is not a Chinese psyop, but it's actually maybe a Sputnik moment. Do you feel comfortable that Reid Hoffman and Andreessen and Bezos and have they kept their end of the bargain, sir?
No, they haven't. I mean, manifestly not. They've gotten rich, Steve. They've gotten powerful. They have taken our information. Let's just remember how they power these companies and how they power AI. They come and they take our information. They go out there and they scour everything on the web, your personal stuff, your pictures, your writing, whatever is out there, everyday American stuff. Did they ask you permission? No, they don't. Did they pay you for it? No, they do not. Do they care about your rights? Nope, don't care at all. They take it, they load it up into their large language models and whatever AI system they're running, and then they profit off of it. And yeah, the bargain supposedly is, okay, but you'll deliver great technological progress that'll benefit everybody. Now we just see the Chinese come through with a huge breakthrough that looks like they're out ahead in front now of this game. So Silicon Valley has not kept up their pledge, their promise, if that's what it was, to always maintain us as number one. But meanwhile, they've continued to amass all the power. So they've got more power than ever before. And yet here we are now starting to lag behind in terms of technology. And you know, Steve, you and I both know what they'll do next. These companies, they'll come to Washington and they'll say, we need more money. We need more special favors. We need more handouts. That's what it'll be. Give us more. Give us more.
It's 100%. So. 100%. Are you comfortable, sir, given your focus on the Chinese Communist Party and national security, are you comfortable we did not have an intelligence failure here, maybe a massive intelligence, since AI is looked at as the potential new super weapon, to be caught by surprise? You know, can we afford a Sputnik moment in the 21st century? And do you think the intelligence services were caught by surprise?
I think they probably were caught by surprise. I can certainly just say from my perspective that we had no forewarning of this. It wasn't like a while ago, the IC, as they like to say, the intelligence community, was flagging this and saying, oh, this could be coming. So number one, I think it does come as a surprise. And here's the other thing. See, we've had an incredibly stupid policy of allowing our giant corporations like Microsoft to go and build labs in China, to collaborate with China on AI, to share AI information, to share technology, to share processing capability. Where has that gotten us? I think we see today. It has certainly benefited the Chinese. Has it benefited America? I don't think so. Has it benefited the American people? I don't think so. Steve, we need to put in place right now limitations on the transfer of AI technology to and from China. American companies should not be sharing this information with Chinese companies in any guise. That's easy. That ought to be put into law right now, and we ought to recognize this for the national security concern that it is.
Senator, I think you're considered by the MAGA base and the populist wing as the leading voice of populism in the Senate. What can one guy or a couple of men and women do? Seriously, even though the Republicans control the Senate, the populist wing is getting larger. Obviously, President Trump's a populist, but you're pretty small in numbers. What can you guys do to set things right there in regards to the kind of monopolistic power of big tech?
I think we've got to continue to push the envelope and sound.
Guys, and I want to let you know this. You know how powerful Google is? Google, there maintains a 92% market share of all the search that happens in the United States. 92% that is 100% a monopoly. And yet they're still a company that goes against every law that's ever been put out for not having monopolies in the United States. Why? Because there's lobbyists. And that's where things are changing, guys. A lot of things are going to be changing.
The alarm, and Steve, we can't be shy about talking about just what you're saying. I think we've got to call out these monopolists and listen. Just because Mark Zuckerberg is now cozying up to the president, and listen, I'm glad Mark Zuckerberg can read an election return. He looks at the election and is like, oh, gee. It looks like the American people actually don't like what I was doing. You know, he wants to sell a product, so he can read an election return. More power to him. But we shouldn't trust him. We shouldn't trust any of these guys. Bezos, I don't trust any of them. And we would be insane insane to now allow them to continue to amass power and just take them at their word when they say, oh, we won't censor you again, we'll start behaving better. No, they won't. They're going to do what's in their best interest, their bottom line.
100%.
And they will absolutely come after us again. They will try to censor us, cancel us again if we let them have the power. We ought to right now make clear we are never going to put ourselves in a position again like we were the last 4 years when they tried to control our information, control our news, interfere in presidential elections. Steve, we got to take away their power to do that. And we'd be real foolish if we took our eye off that ball.
Guys, I'm telling
Senator
you.
Hawley, Missouri's looked at
What's happening now? Everybody's on it. Everybody knows we have to move fast. We have to move quick. And that's again, too, guys, I'm just telling you, no one saw this coming. It's being reported everywhere. President Trump is offering all 200 million federal workers the chance to resign in exchange for 8 months severance package, guys. They said the White House expects between 5 to 10% of workers to quit, leading to $100 billion in savings. Thank you, Trump and Doge. And guys, I want to say we have over 1,400 people watching. Wow, guys, y'all are amazing. If you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button, guys. It really does help the channel so much. And thank you, David Mellon for the super chat. He said, love you coming and giving us the updates. I voted for TrueLife News to apply for White House press seat. Let's go. Y'all show David some love in the chat. And guys, again, there's so much that's coming. Trump wants to eliminate income taxes. He's eliminated federal, not limited, but he's temporarily paused grants and loans. Now we have federal judges that are fighting him on that. Why? Because they want to keep spending. And the crazy thing is that we spent over $3 trillion last year in 2024 on these federal grants and loans, and yet we have no accountability whatsoever. Check this out.
Breaking new details as President Trump takes a blowtorch to our bloated federal government. A U.S. judge temporarily pausing the Trump administration's freeze of federal grants, loans, and other financial assistance programs. The freeze aimed to root out all the DEI and the Green New Deal nonsense that undermines our national interests. But Democrats like Chuck Schumer want to play politics and accusing the Trump administration of starving people in order to pad their pocket.
This is a dagger at the heart of the average American family in red states and blue states. Disaster assistance, local law enforcement, rural hospitals, aid to the elderly, food for people in need. All are on the chopping block in this new administration. Why? They need tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy. This decision is lawless, dangerous, destructive, cruel.
New White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt wasting no time to debunk the Democrat and media hysteria over the order.
This is not a blanket pause. It means no more funding for illegal DEI programs. It means no more funding for the Green New scam that has cost American taxpayers tens of billions of dollars. It means no more funding for transgenderism and wokeness across our federal bureaucracy and agencies. Doge and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. The past 4 years, we've seen the Biden administration spend money like drunken sailors.
In Gaza. Yeah. Okay, look, the pause is not across the board. It's to eliminate programs that the president promised he would eliminate, that he was elected on, and that is DEI programs. And it's pausing money only from 5 o'clock today until February 10th. So that they can take a look and decide what they're going to do.
So we now know the judge that this is obviously brand new information. The judge blocking this, U.S. District Judge Lauren L. Ali Khan is a Biden-appointed judge. Yep. Okay, I had to read through this AP article to get the update. I had to read through Trump plunged the U.S. government into panic and confusion on Tuesday. There wasn't a lot of confusion if you really read through the details of this. And Caroline Leavitt did a great job articulating this. This didn't involve or affect individual federal assistance from the government and affect the food stamps program and all of those types of things. Obviously, people need more information but the media seems to be fear-mongering a little bit here. Anyway, the judge is getting in the way of this. What this entire thing told me was that, again, that this is an administration following through on its promises and that they understand that we've got to cut back and we've got to start somewhere. And they've got to get aggressive because you can't just do this bit by bit in small batches. I think this will be a major roadblock for them. But I don't think they're not gonna quit, they're not gonna tire, and they're gonna keep going. But this is a strong message that they sent, starting this out in week 2 of the administration.
And, Jesse, there was a judge who put a freeze on it, and then a judge paused the freeze. So, but this is a funding phase that they're looking at that does not involve money that goes to individuals. As Caroline Levitt made very clear, it's not Social Security, it's not Medicare, it's not money to SNAP, it's not money that goes to individuals. It's like for the Green New Deal programs and for foreign aid.
So you're saying the media and the Democrats overreacted?
Yeah, I think Chuck Schumer's a little over the top today.
So everybody's getting the money. This is like if I took over as CEO of Fox. I wouldn't change programming. You could still see Gutfeld at 10, see the 5 at 5. But I would make sure some things changed that aligned with my priorities.
Like what? What would you get rid of, Jesse? Go for it.
Perhaps some pilots on Fox Nation might be shelved temporarily.
Interesting.
Perhaps the D.C. car service was paused until we found out who was taking cars to West Virginia. And maybe the Fox weather people might not be getting that new studio until we could get costs down.
Do you know that this is public? Like what we're doing right now?
It's an analogy. You get it. You're still going to be able to watch programming.
Do you think Fox and Friends is too long?
It's going to 2 hours now. But this is what they're doing. They're all freaking out, but you're still going to be able to watch the news, Jessica. And can you believe, Judge, $50 million for condoms in Gaza?
Sounds reasonable to me.
I ran the numbers.
Who's in Gaza?
There's less people by
the largest concentration of childhood amputees in the world are in Gaza.
Thanks.
That means
no condoms.
That means 1,000 condoms per man.
Yeah.
1,000 condoms.
Are they worried about
guys? Let me tell you this: it is extremely mind-blowing the amount of waste that's coming, but what is fighting, and I feel like, let me know your thoughts, that especially representatives need to be held accountable for these blatant lies that they are trying to spread. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said that Trump shut off Medicaid. No, he didn't. He literally didn't touch Medicaid. He has vowed to not touch Medicaid or Social Security or Medicare, and he hasn't. But yet, these representatives fearmonger. They lie to their base, lie on social media. I think that they need to be held accountable because what Trump is doing is this. Doge team. This is from the Department of Government Efficiency X account. Doge is saving the federal government approximately $1 billion a day, mostly from stopping the hiring of people into unnecessary positions, deletion of DEI, and stopping improper payments to foreign organizations, all consistent with the president's executive orders. Guys, there's so much that is happening. They're trying to put in these lies here and there.
What about some of
But what I want to show you guys is our boy Mike Johnson. He's getting a backbone. He is, and I'm glad for it, because we haven't seen it from him in a long time. But he literally calls out California and basically says they cheated in the last election. And just want to say, we have over 1,500 people watching. Y'all are amazing, guys. If you don't mind, hit the thumbs up like button. Let's get to over 1,000 likes. Let's go. Check this out.
What about some of the seats that you lost in states like New York, California? Do you think you'll be targeting those seats?
Well, I mean, some of those districts are on the margin, and so there'll be, I think it's a target-rich environment for us in that regard. Some of those were heartbreaking losses. I mean, very small margins in the loss. The California seats were, and New York were particular frustrations for me because I spent a lot of time personally in those districts. California, they drug out the vote tally. California seemingly can't count votes like every other state and country in the world. It takes them weeks or months to tally the votes, and it was a great disappointment because all 3 of the seats that we lost there, we were ahead on election day, and then gradually it was whittled away. It raises a lot of questions. We're not going to go back and relitigate that, but I'll tell you that there'll be a lot of attention paid to, you heard the president say when he was in California visiting the wildfires, they really need voter ID in California. They need to clean up some of their election integrity measures, and that's something that there'll be a lot of attention paid to. But we are going to contest those areas. I think we can win back some of those seats, and it's going to be a good thing for the country.
You hear that, guys? Litigation, contesting. We know, guys, it literally took California in some areas over 30 days, 4 to 5 weeks to count all the votes in a small county. You would have to be naive to think that there wasn't some form of maliciousness taking place in those places, guys. But what I love is that Trump's team is literally disrupting the deep state like nobody's business. Check this out.
A lot of criticism coming from the Democratic side of the aisle, not surprisingly, most vociferously, from the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who said this. Listen here.
This decision is lawless, dangerous, destructive, cruel. It's illegal. It's unconstitutional. I spoke to my Attorney General this morning. She's head of the State Attorneys General Association. They're going to court right away.
So what do you say to Senator Schumer?
Well, a couple things first, Chuck. Your Attorney General is not the Attorney General. We have an Attorney General. That will be Pam Bondi. And what your opinion is on what the law is doesn't really matter. It's what the White House counsel says and what our Attorney General of the United States says. What we have done is...
Guys, I love what she just said. She's like, it's what the White House counsel says. She's the White House counsel, guys, to the president. Let's go.
Cut spending. Look at what President Trump has done with Doge. He has cut so much money and then brought in trillions of dollars into America and people from overseas reinvesting in this America because the last administration was so weak and was so frivolous with how they spent their money, having DEI funding for things like that, transgender transitions, people influencing my children, I'm not okay with. That's illegal and unconstitutional. So, you know, Chuck can check his attitude at the door, but I'm not really surprised by him. You know, this is the narrative we're going to hear. We all know it. And that's why people watch this show, because they want to hear what the truth is out of the White House, which is that we are examining everything, taking a look at where money is going, how it is being spent, so that we can be responsible with taxpayer money, something the last administration, frankly, didn't care about.
Yes.
Alina, great to have you back on the program, and good to see you there at the White House. From Senator Schumer to the Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson said this about the Trump administration's attempt to cut federal funds. Listen.
What's clear from this administration is that they do not have the full pulse or the breadth of what people in America are calling for. It's, again, no secret that this administration has a great deal of disdain for working people. These appropriations have been mandated by the legislative branch. These are laws. And, you know, we as a country of laws and democracy, we prefer when we have leaders who actually are committed to upholding that law.
All right, so to the Chicago mayor, you say what?
Well, first of all, there was a mandate. It was on November 5th, and we swept the country, and that's because they weren't okay with what the last administration did. So the mandate does not come from the legislative history. It comes from the American people who voted President Trump and his America First agenda. And that is what we're going to do, and that is what we are doing, exactly what Americans voted for. And we are going to continue to do that. So, you know, again, left-wing narrative, we expect more to come because we're shaking things up. President Trump is a disruptor to help America. Every single person that is going to get confirmed and has gotten confirmed is America First agenda. That's what we're going to do.
So, Alina, you said a moment ago at the top that we have an Attorney General, Pam Bondi. We don't yet have an Attorney General. She may get voted out of committee tomorrow. The confirmation vote probably won't happen until next week. In the meantime, a week from Sunday, there's a huge national security event, the Super Bowl, in a place that saw a terrorist attack not too long ago. Why are Democrats dragging their feet in getting a confirmation vote for her?
Well, that's a problem. It's a real problem, and President Trump's made it clear that they better cooperate and push our people through. These are people that are on point with our mandates, with what America voted for, and they're playing games. They're saying they're not available. They're doing what they need to do to slow roll this. And frankly, we have acting attorney generals. We have people acting in the DOJ, running the show, helping President Trump push every single EO, and there has been many of them, out and making sure that people cooperate. Government officials need to cooperate as well. And I think America is tired of this. This is what they voted out. We don't want games. We want our people in. We want good people in. And Pam Bondi is one of them. So are a lot of the people that are going in front of hearings this week, as we know.
All right, Alina, so we just heard from Caroline Leavitt, her first stop at the podium there in the White House briefing room. You're joining us live. Just, before we let you go, I mean, this is only week 2. How would you describe the first couple weeks inside that White House?
Well, first of all, I want to be the first to congratulate Caroline. I think she did tremendously. She's going to be a great press secretary. Secondly, I can tell you that the energy coming from the building right behind me, where I have seen every day, day in, day out, we come in early, we leave late. Everyone is working hard to fix what has happened over the last 4 years. And there is a lot to fix. And America needs to be patient. But I'll tell you, we're moving quick, as you've seen. And President Trump doesn't play games. When he says something, he means it. He said it on the campaign trail, and he's putting those things into action.
In terms of moving quickly, Donald Trump has done more in the first 100 hours than most administrations do in the first 100 days. And we know the change in Washington is like turning a supertanker around. Can the agencies handle the speed at which this is happening?
Absolutely. You have to understand one other thing. PPO's office, and a friend of mine, Sergio, has done a tremendous job of hiring so many people. He's hired thousands of people. We have so many resumes coming in. We're interviewing every single day, but more importantly, we're doing something else. Terminating. We're terminating people that are not part of the agenda, that do not want to put America first. And that is a big part of that process. The reason things weren't moving quickly is because they didn't want them to. Because you have people politicking instead of doing. And that's going to stop now.
Yeah, we had Sergio Goran last week. We're getting an update from him as well. It's a huge process, huge.
Guys, what an amazing movement is happening. Guys, this is insane because, again, what you're about to see next, Trump is not only cleaning house by offering all 2 million federal workers a buyout to resign, but he's also, what you're about to see next, just signed an executive order to hold accountable people, former officials, for leaking out secretive information and or actions. Thank you so much, Andy, for the super chat. Let's go. He said 50 million for men in Gaza to buy things, or it can be 50 million to fund terrorists in Gaza without tracing it, a disguise. Yeah. Thank you, Andy, so much for the super chat. Y'all show him some love in the chat. To me, guys, you would have to be naive to think that that money is going for just that. There's something else fishy that's happening, but I'm glad they stopped it. But listen to this new executive order just signed moments ago by Trump.
You might be insulted.
It's an executive order relating to holding former government officials accountable for unlawful disclosure of sensitive information. This next one, sir, is a declaration of a national energy.
Y'all hear that, guys? So I'm going to read it for you. That it is relating to holding former government officials accountable for unlawful disclosure of sensitive information. Trump is going after everybody, and he's not going to hold back one bit. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching, guys. Y'all are so amazing. We got over 1,800 people watching. Y'all are so awesome. If you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help the channel out so much. Guys, you got to hear this. Trump is vowing to scrape the income tax. He has Scott Bessent, his new Treasury Secretary, who's already confirmed working hard at it. Check this out.
Bessent is also sounding the alarm on what he calls an impending economic calamity. He is urging lawmakers to extend key provisions of the Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. The stakes, of course, couldn't be higher. Millions of jobs, billions in lost wages could be lost if the tax cuts expire in December. And Republicans are mobilizing. Speaking at the GOP retreat in Florida, President Trump doubled down on his message, cut taxes for the American people. He even floated the idea of abolishing the federal income tax altogether.
Yes, let's go.
You know, the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States. The income tax came in 1913. As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens.
The president says that he plans to impose tariffs on a list of imports: steel, aluminum, copper, computer chips, semiconductors, pharmaceuticals, all to boost domestic production. This is a very aggressive economic agenda, but it's also really exciting also. Let's just keep with the tariffs for a moment, since that's where we ended. This is a strategy, Brian, that he tried previously. They weren't able to see it through in the last administration. It's one that takes time. He's going back to do it again.
Well, he's loves tariffs. Tariffs, I think, is his favorite word in the dictionary, he said. Not surprising that he's talking about doing a universal tariff, but I love Kevin Hassett. I think he's my favorite economic guy in the administration, the happy warrior. And he makes such a good point. He says, when these guys talk about tariffs, they ignore all the other policies that we want to do, just like they did in the first Trump term. And if you think back to that term, we got some tariffs, but we got all sorts of supply-side pro-growth policies. And that's exactly what the president is talking about now. I mean, folks, he just said, let's eliminate the income tax. Now, I don't know if that's going to get done, but the fact that he's even talking that way tells me this is a guy who does not want to punish work, and that's the biggest thing.
Dagan, what about the federal freeze? That's also huge news today, and Schumer pushing back.
It is big news, and particularly digging into the grant issue. But to stay on the tariff thing, Kenny, so let's connect all the big players in this and what they're saying. Kevin Hassett on Kudlow yesterday said tariffs are not just a weapon, but part of a supply-side strategy as part of a tax bill. And Larry Kudlow himself has talked about, let's think about a 10% across-the-board tariff. We have $5 trillion in imports. And so you're talking about $500 billion to finance tax cuts here. So you are taxing foreign firms, your foreign manufacturers, and then giving individuals, you, and corporations here a tax cut potentially. And then there's the Financial Times article about Scott Bessent saying something that Scott Bessent is pushing for new universal tariffs on U.S. imports starting at 2.5%. This is taking shape. The biggest problem is the Republicans in the House. They control the purse strings. They will be writing this tax reform bill, and there are 48 of them who didn't show up at Doral. What in the hell is wrong with y'all?
Well, speaking of taxes, the agenda is very aggressive. He's already talking about bringing the corporate tax rate down, Taylor, not taxing Social Security, overtime, and tips. He wants to extend the 2017 tax cuts, but the CBO says if you do that, it's going to add $4 trillion over a decade to the deficit. So that's a problem. He says it might be offset by the tariffs. What do you think?
You know me. If I'm looking at the bond market, all I can think about is the debt and the deficit and how we tackle this. So the bond vigilantes don't come out and scream at us. So I love that you brought up the deficit. But I think, Jackie, as we've been talking about on this show, those tax cuts have to be #1 priority because that was the mandate from the voters. So I think you have to get that done and find revenue elsewhere. Is that revenue 2.5%, as Dagan mentioned, what Scott Bessent laid out? What's interesting about that in terms of a revenue source is, to me, markets like certainty. So if you tell me 10% tariff, if I'm a company like GM, I can handle that. If you tell me that every month it's going up by 2.5%, I have a hard time planning around that because how do I figure out, do I buy the goods now? What if the tariffs go up? Is it a negotiating tool? Is it going up? And so Scott Bessent is the smartest person in the room, do not get me wrong, but some of that makes me nervous when you think about just those monthly increments.
Yeah, absolutely, and you bring up the market and the reaction to it, Kenny. That's where I want to bring you in. Obviously, we had a rough day yesterday. We're dealing with that AI story. That's part of the issue, but the markets have been up since Trump has come into office. Even though we started the year on a little bit of a down note, tells me that investors are very optimistic about this.
I think they're very optimistic, and I hear it when I'm talking to people. I'm very optimistic about what the future holds and what all these policy holds, and actually this whole idea about eliminating the income tax or redefining it and coming in with, kind of a 10% tariff tax and giving an income tax break to Americans encourages them to work more, in my opinion, encourages them then to spend more, in my opinion. So then you end up having a stronger and better economy. I think the market likes it. I think it's clear. I think yesterday's action in the market was a separate issue.
Yeah.
Although we could say that the market needs to pull back a little bit because maybe it's a little bit stretched, and that's fine. But yesterday's action, I think, was completely...
Guys, let me tell you this. The Trump vowing to eliminate income taxes for Americans, Trump coming out and saying, offering buyouts to all 2 million federal workers to get America back on track, clean out the deep state, clean out the people that don't even want to be there. I love it, guys. This is the boldest action I think we've seen in our lifetime coming from a president. Mr. Tracy J. Norby, thank you so much for gifting 10 True Life News memberships. Let's go. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat if you got a free membership. And thank you so much, Prophetic Now, who said prayers matter, for we battle against evil in the spiritual realms. 100% prayer matters, guys. Y'all show Prophetic Now some love in the chat. Guys, I'm telling you that there's a lot of people that do not like Trump right now. There's a lot of people and there's a lot of threats coming. But what I'm glad is that they're not naive. They know. And because of that, watch this, guys, because they are not holding back one bit. Check this out.
Are you satisfied, Tom Homan, with the pace of migrant deportations?
No, we got to do more. We got to open that aperture up, which we're going to do. It was a great start. The first week was unprecedented. I mean, the illegal crossings on the border one day was like 540. I've never seen that, and I started on board until 1984. And we went from 10,000 a day to under 600. So it's great, it's good, but we're not finished, and we need more deportations, a lot more deportations, and that's what we're working on.
So as you mentioned, it was 10,000 a day for many, many days under Joe Biden, and you guys are basically on pace for just around 10,000 per week. What's your biggest challenge that's holding you back from capturing and deporting more criminal migrants?
Sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities are difficult to operate in. You know, we'd much rather arrest one agent can arrest one bad guy in a jail in 10 minutes. But when they release him back in the community, we got to send a whole team to find him.
That's true.
And someone that don't want to be found. And it's unsafe for the community. Putting a public safety threat back into the public. That's idiotic to begin with. It makes the job more dangerous for the agent, more dangerous for the alien, more dangerous for the community. So we got to spend a lot of time trying to locate this person, write up an operational plan, and seek to arrest them. It's not efficient. And so it not only is it difficult, it's very dangerous. So the officers already have a dangerous job. You've seen the video from, I was in Chicago, and you know, there's a lot of bad people out there. So that's the problem, sanctuary cities. But once again, we're not going to let sanctuary cities stop us. You want to release a public safety threat in the community? Fine. We'll go find the guy. But when we find him, he's probably with others. Others that aren't a criminal priority, but guess what? They're coming too. So if you want to play that game, game on.
Besides Chicago, what precinct, what mayor, what governor has given you the most trouble?
Well, Chicago's Denver, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Diego, New York. Look, New York, the mayor of New York says he wants to help, but the city council is stopping him. The commissioner of NYPD is saying they're not going to help. I know the mayor of Chicago says he wants to help, and we're offering to help him to do that. You know, he wants to do an executive action to get us in Rikers Island. How dare an ICE agent be at Rikers Island taking custody of a public safety threat they're about to release? So Mayor Adams says he wants to help. Actions speak louder than words. We'll find out where it goes.
And if any of these local politicians obstruct, aren't they opening themselves up for charges?
Absolutely. They can sit back and watch us protect their community. Any mayor or city councilman, their number one job is protection of the communities. We've been clear we're looking for public safety threats. If you don't want to help us, then just get the hell out of the way and we'll do it. But don't cross that line. Don't actively impede our operation, because that's a felony. Don't knowingly harbor and conceal illegal alien from us. That is a felony. So there will be consequences, absolutely.
Well, Tish James, AG here in New York, says it's all a game you're playing. Listen to this.
New York City joined the list of cities where these performative raids are taking place.
We have a government right now that is reckless.
Reckless and also, I mean, as I've said, performative. I mean, I want to show you an image of Kristi Noem, who's just confirmed, the former governor who's confirmed as a Department of Homeland Security. I mean, it's as she's cosplaying. It's almost a game where she seems to be cosplaying, as I'm not sure what she thinks that she's portraying here. She might as well be at Comic-Con.
James and Joy say you're reckless and you're just role-playing for fun.
She's dumber than a box of rocks. Bottom line is, let's talk about Chicago for a minute. Chicago mayor says that we put fear in the elementary schools because ICE agents went to elementary school. Total false story. What ICE did in Chicago is save children. What we did in New York today is save children. Just Chicago alone, we arrested like 9 sexual predators, most of them child sex predators. We took them off the street. We took them off the street in New York today. We're protecting the community. We're saving children. We're going to secure that border so less Americans die of fentanyl deaths. We're securing the border so less women and children are sex trafficked. Biden administration had a 600% increase in sex trafficking. We're securing the border so less terrorists and people on terrorist watch lists get into the country. Biden, under Biden, we had a 3,500% increase in people on terrorist watch lists. No, we're saving this nation. We're making America safe again. So they need to get out of the way because we're coming. We're going to do it. They're not going to stop us.
All right, well, the polls, even the legacy media polls say the American people support this operation and they support you. So good luck, be safe, and hopefully you don't get too much more trouble out of
Guys, how insane is that? 3,500% increase in terrorist watch lists that we encountered under Biden's regime. Guys, I want to say y'all are so amazing. Thank you so much for your support. We have over 1,700 people watching. Guys, this is such a dream for me to serve you every day with the top news. If you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does. Hey, we got some fireworks this time. The thumbs up like button really does help. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so I can take care of you every day with the top news, guys. So much amazing news is coming out, and we're here for it. We want to make sure that you're informed every single day with the breaking news 2 times a day, Monday through Friday, 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. Want to give some love to our members of the channel, guys. Y'all are so amazing. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. We are going to be selling merch pretty soon, hopefully starting in the month of March for the channel, guys, and donating a portion of that to the charities that we give to. And guys, thank y'all so much for the super chat. Surgical Wizard, appreciate you so much. And Judy Lynn Loving Spirit for gifting 5 TrueLife News memberships. Growing the TrueLife News fam. If you got a membership from Judy Lynn, show her some love in the chat. Want to also show some love to Ruby Hoove, C24 McD, Tammy Fields, D Adams, D Artano, Valentino, David Mellon, Andy, Prophetic Now. Guys, y'all show them some love in the chat. There's so much going on. There's so much news out there. That's why we want to build you the best show, bringing all the sources together and showing you the most important of what's going on so you stay informed, guys. We love you. We are here to serve you. America first, baby. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.